Welcome to today's class. So today we're going to be doing a kind of fun, free-flowing, creative sort of Vinyasa power yoga class. So these are just kind of movements that I really enjoy doing, and I hope that you enjoy them too. I wanted to give you a kind of feel of my own home practice, my own way of moving, in case this kind of fuels and inspires yours as well. So I haven't planned this sequence for today to try and keep it as authentic as possible. So just bear with me if we get stuck every now and then. Okay. So let's just start in child's pose. So you can bring your big toes together behind you, take your knees nice and wide, and you can walk your hands out in front of you. Okay, so you can bring your forehead to the floor here or rest your forehead on your forearms. And you'll close down your eyes to find your way out of other stuff that's going on for you today and into this moment right now. Use your breath to bring yourself very deeply into the present. Begin to deepen that breath and notice the effect of the breath on your body and on your mind. Soften through your face and take a moment to set an intention and decide how you want to show up. And decide what you want from this class and how you're going to take it. Okay, and then you'll use your next inhale just to find your way up onto all fours. Bringing your knees underneath your hips now. And we'll just start to move into the spine a little bit so you can take a breath in, draw your belly down and your head up. I always like to rock a little bit into these first movements as well, just to see what's going on. Then as you breathe out, draw your belly into your spine. And you can start with tilting your tailbone. So you can start with that gentle tuck. Draw the tailbone down, belly in and up, rounding through the shoulders. How you're feeling today, what's going on. Okay, and then breathe in, drop the belly down, head lifts. And then breathe out like a slinky from the base of your spine, tucking the tailbone first, pulling the belly into the spine, using your TVA to start the movement all the way through to the upper body. Tucking your chin. And again, dropping the belly, lifting the head. And then rounding it out, and you can start to kind of make the movement a bit more dramatic, rocking forwards and back now, getting into the wrist, into the hips. And getting it really as dramatic as possible. And then rounding it out. And then the next time you take your breath in, you'll tilt your tailbone and just drop your chin and your chest to the ground, keeping your tailbone nice and lifted. And then you're going to draw your belly in, kind of wiggle through the upper back into a sort of lazy up dog. Okay? And then you can tilt the tailbone up and back. Round it forward. And then dropping chin and chest to the floor, taking a moment to get that opening through the neck. And then slinking through the spine, rolling forward lazy up dog. Okay, and then sending your hips back. Pulling them round and forward. Chin to the floor. Ripple forward. Send your hips back. And again. Okay. And then keeping this kind of waving motion through the spine, you can start to lift your hips up into a downward facing dog. And then walk out the feet. So I like to keep the feet kind of wide to see what's going on through the hips. And then we'll continue kind of weaving through the spine in the same way. So feel free to keep that bend in the knee as well here if that feels nice. So you'll breathe in and squeeze your heels up, send your tailbone nice and high, and then round it forward into that kind of high plank. You can bend the knees again here as you send your hips back. So we're just kind of waving through the spine, making sure that we move from the tailbone first. And so from our high plank, tilting the tailbone up and using that as the anchor to draw your hips up. As you get to the top, you can tilt the tailbone down towards the ground, draw the belly in and round it forward. Okay, and then some stillness here. Closing down the eyes, connecting with the breath. Now on your next inhale, you'll just roll over onto the right foot so that your left tiptoes can come up. So you can start to squeeze the left side body open. And then rolling onto the outside of the left foot, squeezing open through the right side body. Okay, and then stepping your feet to your hands. Coming up halfway, ragdoll pose. So you can bend the knees, maybe let the tops of your hands fall on the floor. Hang nice and heavy. Bend through your knees. Come all the way up to standing. Reaching your hands up overhead. And then to your heart center. Okay, now I've got the movement going. I kind of want to keep it going. So take a breath in, reach up. Breathe out, fold yourself down. Keeping a lot of length as you come down in the spine. So be very conscious and aware of the spine as you move. Breathe in, lengthen forward. And drop your hands, step back. Very good high plank here. And then we'll drop the knees, chin and chest down to the ground. Ripple forward, lazy up dog, full up dog. So bring the tops of the thighs off of the ground. And then into down dog. Okay, lifting up through the right leg now. Lift it up. Squeeze that heel up. Squeeze up nice and high. Bend the knee, stack the hips so that your hips start to kind of open. You're kind of squeezing that the right heel towards the butt. And just make a few circles with the knee. So nice big, kind of intentional circles. Changing direction. Okay, and then sending that foot right back out behind you again. So a couple of options to step through to your hands. You can just step your foot right through, or you can squeeze your knee up to the side. So squeeze your foot into your bum, and then extend the right foot out directly to the side. And then you can start to bring it forward between your hands, bending through the knee, dropping the left, what's that called? The left knee, down towards the ground, and just moving into a low lunge here. Dropping right into that hip. I also like to drop onto the left hand and rock into the outside of the left hip. And sometimes I get it in the right hip as well, which kind of feels nice. Okay, so back to that full low lunge. And we're gonna roll into a half split, so take a breath in here. As you breathe out, see if you can plus your belly to your thigh as you straighten out the right leg, keeping your gaze lifted. So again, we're very conscious of the spine. Breathe in, roll forward, plus bring your belly to your thigh as much as possible. Okay, and then roll back, drawing those right toes in towards your face. Get some movement in there. Every breath, so breathing in, rolling forward, breathing out, half split. Okay, and then back into that low lunge, and then you'll lift the left knee up. So you're kind of in a high lunge, but supported with your hands. Okay, and then you'll squeeze your right foot up, step it back, high plank, send your hips back, down dog. Takes 2 more rolls through the spine, so breathe in, send your hips up, pull your belly in, roll it forward, and then tilt the spine down, roll it back. Make that movement like as dramatic as you can. Okay, and then lifting up through the left foot. So we're just moving it to the other side. Squeeze that heel up nice and high. Squeeze it, squeeze it. And then bend the knee, stack the hip open. And you're pressing that left heel in towards the glute. Okay, nice big circles now with the left knee. And change direction. Just accessing the hip a bit. Okay, and then again you have that option to kick the foot out and step it through, or bring the knee nice and high. And then extend that left foot out in front of you. Scoot it nice and slowly around, forward, between the hands. Drop the right knee, low lunge. Rock into that low lunge a little bit. And see what you're feeling. Okay, so breathe in to that low lunge. Breathe out for that half split. Keeping the belly into the thigh as much as you can. Breathing in, rolling forward. Breathing out, rolling back. Curling the toes in as well, so that we hit the nerve. Breathe in, roll forward. And breathe out, roll back. In and forward. And then out and back. In and forward. And then we'll stay here, curling the right toe, coming into that kind of high lunge prep. Okay, and then squeezing the left heel up. Really do round through your back here to get the height so that you have space for this. Then step that foot back, downward facing dog. Step your feet to your hands. Lift up halfway, forward fold on the exhale, so feet about hip distance apart. Take a hold of your big toes or maybe your calf muscles. Draw your elbows out to the sides. Begin to drag the chest forward and down. Stay nice and soft in your face and nice and soft in your breath as well. Okay, and bend through the knees. Curl yourself all the way up to standing. Hands overhead and into your heart center. Okay, breathing in, reaching up. And breathing out to fold down. Come up halfway. And drop your hands, step both feet back. High plank. And we'll lower through that full chaturanga. Actually, I have a shoulder injury, so I won't, but you can. So you can come down. Through up dog. And then into your down dog. Okay. Lifting up through the right leg. Send it up nice and high, nice and high, nice and high, nice and high. Squeeze that heel up. Then you're gonna bend your heel towards the top of your head. Roll forward so you can kind of squeeze your heel towards the top of your head. Stacking your shoulders over your wrists. Okay, and then send it back. Step it through. High lunge this time. So both feet are facing forward and your back knee is lifted. And you'll come up nice and high. Okay, and dropping nicely into that left hip. That should feel super good. Okay, and then rotating around into warrior two. Getting a bit further into the hips. Okay, then we'll take an inhale and we're going to drop all the way down into a Cossack squat on the left side. So we're just going to bend through the left knee and then find your way down. Okay, and if your balance is a bit funny here, using one hand to the floor, just want to stay nice and open through the chest and active through this left leg. So you just don't want to collapse through that right leg, you want to keep it nice and strong. That's Bali's tail, just kind of wandering across. Okay, and then you can bring your fingertips to the floor, or for an added challenge, keep them lifted, and then roll yourself onto the other side. Again, keep that activation through the left leg so it's still super strong. Okay, and then we'll come to the center, spinning both feet to face the same direction. And you'll take a nice wide stance. So toes are forward or slightly pigeon-toed a bit. Bring your fingertips to the floor. First of all, find that like really nice length in your spine. Should feel super good. Okay, and then you can spin your fingertips behind you, walk them behind you, drawing your chest down towards the ground. So really getting now into the outside part of the legs and the hips, and also into the backs of the legs. Okay, and then bring your fingertips to the center. You're just going to spin both feet to face the front of the mat again, and bring yourself forward as well. So get a sensation of drawing the right hip back and pressing the left hip forward, and then get a lot of length and elevation. Elevation, is that the right word? I don't know. A lot of length through your spine, sending it forward. And then as you exhale, you can begin to draw your belly towards the top of your thigh. Okay, and then you can bring your hands behind you if you would like to complete the pose, onto your fingertips. Maybe your forehead comes to the shin as well. Take that option, or keep your fingertips up. This is what I kind of like to do. And then as you breathe in, you can draw your toes in towards your face, and then squeeze your right hip back and up and the left hip forward. So you get a bit deeper into the stretch, and then breathe out, drop it down. So you can stay in that static stretch or use the breath to get some movement in here. So as you breathe in, you can imagine that I'm grabbing your hips and pulling them up, but your right heel and your left tip toes are rooted into the ground. Okay. And then you can step yourself back into a down dog the normal way, or if you want a bit more of a challenge, you can use all of your available core strength to do that. So you'll bring your hands beside your foot, and then you'll squeeze in through your upper body so that your upper body lifts up through your chest, and then hug your right foot in towards your face so that you can slide it back. Okay, so we're back in that downward facing dog, lifting up through the left leg now. Squeezing it up nice and high, nice and high. Okay, and then we're gonna bring the heel forward towards the top of our head, and then roll ourselves over our shoulders, and keep pulling your belly down and squeezing the heel forward. Okay, and then send it back, and then you'll step it through towards the front of your hands. So high lunge here, hands overhead. Take some space in that right hip. Okay, and then into warrior two. I like to, as well, use that exhale to see if I can drop deeper into the left knee maybe. Press out through the outer edges of your feet. And keep this kind of gentle tuck of the tailbone so that you're active through the TVA, through your kind of corset muscle in your belly. Okay, and then you'll find your way back to the center, and this time we're going to move into goddess pose. So you'll bring your feet kind of wide-ish, and then lower yourself down. So you kind of want to get your much as possible, and then you can just kind of rock and roll here, seeing what's going on. And then bring your thumbs into the insides of your knees, wrap your forefingers around, draw your left shoulder towards the ground, press into the left knee, and look out over the right. Come back to the center on the inhale. Exhale, drop the right shoulder, look out over the left. And change it up. Okay. Come back to the center, all the way up. Spin your feet to face forward. So we're going to go for that wide leg forward fold again, just a variation. So hands towards your hips. Inhale the length. Use this hinge at your hips to come forward. And you'll just bring your fingertips down towards the ground. Bring your left hand right underneath your face. And then as if you were drawing an arrow, pull up with the right hand, twisting through the spine as you go. And then eventually following your gaze to that right hand as well. Taking care not to collapse into that left shoulder. Your arms are really strong and long. And then just take a second to check the base of your spine, because it should be square on. We don't want to be pulling the left hip down here. We want to have the base of the spine, the sacrum, really square. So we're keeping the twist through the navel. Okay, and then you can bring it down. Again, drawing up now through the left hand, bringing it up. So you can see actually as I move, I automatically drop down through the right hip. So when you get there, just take a second to reset, square off your SI, and then keep the hold, keep the breath. Keep the pull up through that left hand. Root down firmly through the outside edges of your feet and the base of your palm. Okay, and then drop that hand down. Again, we're going to square forward now over the left foot. So keeping the length in your legs. If you have to bend a little bit, or if you need some extra support, take it. Maybe some blocks or something here. Okay, so moving now into our pyramid pose. You can again stay here. Maybe begin to draw the belly towards the thighs behind you, bringing the forehead to the shin. Keep the pose static if you would like. I do like to move it. I like to move it. Okay, so you can take the breath in. As you do, imagine that your breath is kind of ballooning you up, pulling you up, drawing your left toes in, rounding through the back. Then as you breathe out, drop the right heel, drop the left toes, send your heart forward, and breathe in, pull up, and press that right hip forward, the left hip back. Breathe out, and breathe in. One more. Okay, hands flat to the floor, step back however you'd like. So option 2, press in, round through the top of your back, pull the left hip up, and then step that foot back. Okay, so you're back into your downward facing dog. Take a big breath in through your nose, out through the mouth, and then you can lower your knees just down to the ground. Okay, going to sit back on the heels for a moment, hands to your lap. Close down your eyes. And take some time to just digest all of that movement. And digest all of the emotions that have come about as a result of the movement. And letting go immediately of anything that you felt like you did really well and you're kind of feeling a bit proud about it. Let that go. And letting go immediately too of any attachment that you have to maybe not doing something as well as you thought you could or you hoped you could have. Any feelings of disappointment that you have, let that go. And so we have a clean slate. And take a big breath in through your nose, out through your mouth. Okay. And then you can roll yourself forward and then over onto your back. I'm using with the supine twist just because it feels so nice in my spine after, especially if I've been sitting down all day. It feels really nice. And if you have lower back pain as well, then supine twist is just a great thing to do every day. So just hug your left knee right into the left armpit. Give it a nice big hug. Okay, and then you can bring that left knee over and across your body. Then you'll pick up your hips, stack your hips. Let your right hand just rest very gently on that left knee. Maybe let the left hand fall out, so we're opening up a bit through the shoulders now. I'm beginning to soften through the breath. And this is a great time just to kind of scan through your body and feel for any areas that feel a bit yucky. And direct your breath there. And then find your way back to the center. First of all, just resetting the spine. So you're getting it nice and long, right on the mat or on the carpet, whatever you're lying on today. And then extending the left leg out and hugging the right knee in towards the right armpit. And before you draw it over and across your body. Okay, and that left hand is just resting very gently on the knee. You can bring your gaze over to the right hand as well if that feels nice. And if you want to go a bit deeper as well, you can cactus the right hand, the right arm. So take a bend in the right elbow. While staying mindful of the breath and using it to soften further into the pose. Specifically here through the hips, the lower back, and the sort of top part of the chest and the shoulder. Okay, and then just finding your way back to the center, hugging your knees into your chest, tucking your chin, and maybe just kind of gently rocking side to side if that feels nice. And then we'll finish up in Savasana. I like to bring my feet wide and let my hands fall out to the side, so I get a bit of extra support on my lumbar spine in this position, feeling it kind of flatten against the floor. You can take a big breath in through your nose that release through the mouth. Okay, and then we create a bit more sukha, a bit more softness now in the body. Releasing all of those activations, letting them kind of settle and disperse through the body. And as we bring softness to the body, stillness to the body, it finds its way into the breath, making the breath a little easier, a little more gentle. And as the breath softens, so does the mind. So we don't really have a lot of work to do here, just to make the shape and allow force and stillness. And then begin to bring some awareness back. Allow your breath to slowly begin to deepen. And take some movements through the fingers and the toes, through the ankles and the wrists. And then you can just come to curl up on your side nice and slowly. And this is my favorite bit. You can sit and feel the effect of everything from the practice here, including the final Savasana. Okay, and then pressing your hand into the floor, keeping your head nice and heavy, find your way up. And gathering your hands to your heart center, a moment of gratitude for the practice. And gratitude for this stillness. Okay, thumbs to your foreheads if you'd like. Namaste. Okay, hope you really enjoyed moving with me today, and if you like this video, please do go ahead and give it a thumbs up and hit subscribe to the channel so that you get notified every time that I put out a new video. Thank you so much, and have a great day or a great evening wherever you are in the world.